color cover up, I mean, I'm sure you could probably like. So there's like that flower, those purple flowers, and next to it's
Yep.
the one that the piece that got covered up.
Okay.
That's kind of like I use a certain scent that's called South of Haven, which is by Raw Pigments, and I forgot the name of the guy off the top of my head, but basically he does a whole bunch of cover ups on top of blackouts. So I use a certain type of ink that's supposed to hold over it.
Okay.
So that's what it's looking like.
All right,
So
dope. Yeah, like I said, I think the smoothness is look, man, color's tough for me to critique because I used to do this same shit, man. I used to have like a 3 or 4 color, let's call it like a fade out, where it was like if I had dark purples, I would probably use like a deep indigo purple, and then I would use a dark purple, then I would use a mid purple, and then I would use a lavender, and then I'd mix lavender with like pink or white, to dull it down. So I never got the result that I wanted, dude. Like I was never dark enough for me. It was never enough contrast. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here is like it doesn't look like you beat the skin up, but it also doesn't look like you fully like saturated everything. Um and you can kind of see the lines in each petal, which like for example, what did you line the petals with if you remember?
it was a 12 3 but double long taper. So it was
And
like a
then
mint.
but like what tone or what, ink did you line it with?
I think I used like a super light. I think I used a dark purple, like a deep purple, or yeah, I think it was all deep purple.
Okay, fair enough. Um, damn, I suck at this, but I'm gonna try and give my best opinion on it. So if I ever line anything in color, it was the mid tone of my palette. So if you're gonna go a little bit lighter next to it, that's okay because you get your separation. Like imagine if 2 petals were the same color. At least you
Yeah,
have one tone darker line brushed in between them a little bit. And when I say brushed, again, I mean don't fully just line it out. You got to kind of like be painterly with it and make sure it's not this like solid line. But
yeah, yeah,
the mid tone tends to work more because if you need to fade off of the mid tone with a darker purple, you're going to make that line disappear. And if you need to fade off of the mid tone the opposite way with a lighter purple, you at least get your separation and not, you're not doing the same color on either side of the line and making the line just go nowhere. Um, Texture wise on the rose, it's a little bit like intentional. Like the cuts in your roses, like let's call it the furthest away rose, the one up on the shoulder that's not really the cover up.
yeah,
It's just kind of like straighter cuts in the end of each petal or the edge of each petal, which just in my opinion isn't as realistic as if you like see those curves, they could have been there, those cuts, they could have been there, but
yeah,
I'm sure that you don't see them as straight or as individually the same tone. Or like I'm sure if they are there, it's kind of meant to represent like the peaks and valleys of the pedal. It's supposed to go like up and down and up and down. And just
yeah,
having those cuts kind of makes it look a bit fall a bit flat. Um, I also realized too that in color, a lot of times people are using a lot more black than I expect. So I would expect that you use a decent amount of black in these pieces as well. Like for example, if you're in the middle of that cover up rose right here, I
yeah,
mean all those middle petals, yeah, you're gonna want to make them purple of some sort. But if you're not either doing those inside petals in black or at least mixing that black with a super dark purple, I mean, me, you, and everybody else are never going to get the contrast that you want out of that piece. Um,
okay,
that's why, I say it kind of falls a little bit flat because there's not all these like heavy dark tones and then these heavy light tones. It's kind of all the same 3 or 4 colors. Um,
yeah,
So, and with the leaves again, like you want to make this piece real, you got to make those lines disappear.
Okay,
And I
I
don't care
gotcha.
if they disappear. Like, I don't care if you do them. They can be all your guidelines. All your guidelines could be on your stencil, and I could have no idea what I'm talking about. But when you're finished that stencil, like when you're finished that tattoo, you shouldn't be able to see any of those lines. So if there's, a recommendation I could get, like for example, in the leaves, it almost looks like you have like black or gray wash lines.
Yeah, I do have like a light, like a probably like a light gray.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? And again, this ain't no knock. I'm just saying like it's a color piece. You probably want to use the mid-tone color. Like so if you're using dark green, lime green, and like a middle green, I would probably line the leaves in a middle green so you at least get that little sharpness out of it. Because if you line it in lime green, it's not gonna fucking do anything. And if you line it in dark green, it's gonna look too flat and not realistic. So,
Okay.
lightly too, bro. Like you can lightly like scratch in some of these lines because the majority of this work to get realism is mag work. It's going up against the line and making it disappear. It's having smooth tones in between each blend or a smooth blend in between each tone. So again, like I'm not too much the color cover up guy. I don't do cover ups at all actually, and I only don't do them at all because I've been telling you guys all my pieces have a third nothing. So there's nothing that's going to cover up, no
Yeah.
negative space is going to cover up anything.